Thank you guys for joining on for Kenworth Northeast Training Academy. We're here with Julian Hansen from High Bar Brands and Minimizer. So we're gonna talk a little bit about today about the products that they've got for truck maintenance. If you've got questions, I've given you the ability to talk if you unmute yourself. I think I've got everyone. Looks like Kevin's just joined in, so I'll do allow to talk for you as well. So since we've got a small group today. So just so you guys are aware, the sessions that we have coming up in March, we've got Eaton, and they're going to be talking about some of the advancements and changes that have come in the last few years in heavy duty clutches. So these are the clutches that are out on the, I'd say the trucks, I think they said that are in the last 4 to 5 year model years. And then after that in April, we'll be chatting with the folks with Meritor. They're going to take us on a deep dive through the electric drivetrain technology that's on the T680E. That should be pretty interesting. And then in May, we've got 4 opportunities for a certification with A-Line on air disc brakes. So there's 3 of them that are in person. One's in Buffalo, Syracuse, and in Brockton, Mass. And then the other one's virtual. So a couple of opportunities coming up for some more learning beyond today. Following today's session, you'll be receiving the email that has that recap of our upcoming sessions, some resources from our conversation today, and some other opportunities to stay connected. So with that, I will go ahead and turn it over to Julian.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Let me start off with a little history of Minimizer. The company was actually started by a truck driver, Dick Kruckerberg, who lived in Minnesota. And basically, as he tells the story, one day a forklift driver backed into his truck and crumpled up his steel fender so bad that he had to throw it away. And got him thinking, boy, I wish there was a fender that could take a little hit, a little damage, and be okay. So as he goes on with the story, sometime after that, he said his wife was backing out of the driveway and ran over the poly trash can. And after he cleaned up the mess, he looks at the trash can and hits the sides, and it pops right back out into being round. And the little light bulb went off, and he thought, man, if I could make a fender that would pop back like that, that would be the answer. And so from there, that's how Minimizer got started. He had a buddy who was able to do molds, and they designed the first fender and used a poly material that would have some bounce back on it. As Minimizer grew, they, when they looked at all the products, which we don't have a million products, but the products we do make, the idea is made by a truck driver for truck drivers and owners of trucks. Let's make products that can protect your investment inside the truck and outside. All of the Minimizer products and the High Bar brand products, which actually owns Minimizer, are all available through Kenworth Northeast. So with that, let's get started on looking at the products. As I said, Minimizers, when we make our products, they're all made to be tough, durable, and long lasting. That's kind of the thought process as it goes into developing a product. All of our products are made in the USA. I think all 9 of them are made still in Minnesota, where Dick started the whole thing. So we currently have 9 lines, and we're just going to touch on a handful of them today. So why don't we get started with the fenders? Basically our fenders, and this was from the very beginning. The idea was to make a fender using a poly material versus obviously steel, fiberglass, or plastic. And the purpose of that was basically in Minnesota, the weather. You know, Dick wanted to build a fender that would stand up to the weather, not crack, never fade, never rust, doesn't need to be polished. So with our standard poly fenders, we offer them in 5 different colors. These standard ones never need to be painted. They keep their color, and they're nice. Next one. We also offer the standard fenders in 5 different finishes, which are carbon fiber, mirror finish, liquid palladium, a paintable fender, which can be painted to match the schematic of your truck if you have a different color schematic that we don't offer, and then a diamond plate. With all of our fenders, this is kind of where our brand came from, which is tested and tortured. As you'll see, we do a quick video, you'll see a couple guys that are actually Dick's grandchildren, 2 of his grandsons. And I think their whole job in the company was to just beat up our products and see how, see if they could break them. So from that, here, go ahead and go with the video.
It's time for the Proving Ground engineers to gear up for a test they like to call tank cakes. Basically, we're making pancakes, but instead of the buttermilk batter, we're using fenders, and rather than a skillet, we had our friend Randy bring his tank. Meet Tootsie, a British military GKN Sankey FV432 to be exact. And no, we're not putting any fenders on the tank. We're putting the tank on the fenders. In this test, Randy's tank will run over each fender to see how well it responds to being crushed. Then, we'll see if the fender can bounce back to its original form and function. Oh, in case you might be wondering, the FV432 weighs just a smidgen over 15 tons. And who is going to war against the tank? In the red corner, you have the minimizer fender. And in the black corner, a fiberglass fender. Let's see which of these combatants, if any, can take the weight. First up in the test zone is the minimizer fender. As you can see, Tootsie is no lightweight, and it looks like she did a whole lot of damage. But look here, the minimizer fender is easily popped back into shape and ready for more. So let's break down what happened. The slow motion footage shows every crushing millisecond of Tootsie's 30,000 pounds as she completely deforms the minimizer fender into a pancake. Now, let's find out how well a fiberglass fender will fare against Tootsie in the same test. It's not pretty. In fact, it's pretty much total fender annihilation. It's an easy call to make. In the battle of tank cakes, it's the minimizer fender 1, fiberglass fenders 0.
How cool is that? So it's funny. On our website, we have a bunch of videos like that where I think those 2 fellas, like I said, I think their job was to make videos beating up our products. But what came out of it was the whole tested and tortured brand name, and resulting in the best warranty available on the market. And that's the minimizer lifetime guarantee. These defenders, we will guarantee the lifetime of you using them, that and if there's a problem, we'll replace them. So, We pretty much feel you can't get better. All the fenders are available through Kenworth Northeast, and they stock a ton of them. So I appreciate that. From the outside of the truck, let's jump into going inside the truck. This is probably, besides the fenders and brackets, our second most popular product is our custom molded floor mats. When I explain these to people, I just kind of say these are the WeatherTech floor mats for big trucks. These things are awesome. I don't know how many of you, I have a set of WeatherTech in my F-150. I've had them since the beginning. And when I pull them up, my carpets still look brand new. So that's kind of the same idea as what we tried to come up with, and they perform just as well, if not better. The the textured surface is made to stand up to the dirt, the mud, the spilt coffee, everything else. Designed for durability. It's also designed to remove easily, so you can clean the cab. Guys have told me this is probably the best benefit. You can just unhook it, pull them out, pressure wash them down, and you're good to go. So next. In my opinion, this is the fenders really do a great job protecting the outside of the truck, but these custom floor mats pay for themselves. Number one, driver retention. I'll tell you a quick story. I work with a fleet up and down the East Coast that has a ton of drivers, and one of the maintenance managers, the regional managers, decided when a truck comes in for PM, if that truck is in good shape on the inside where they could tell the driver's really taking care of it, and they don't have a set of floor mats, they reward that driver with a custom set of minimizer floor mats, as a thank you for taking care of the truck. And I thought that was pretty cool. Probably the biggest cost savings is if you lease a truck. And in the beginning, you put a set of these in. When the lease is up, your floor should still be like new, and you won't have to pay the lease and penalties for replacing the floor or fixing the floor. So it also helps with resale value. And those pays for itself. Next. The way our engineers go out and what we do is, obviously we cover all the major OEMs, and they're a custom fit, meaning when a new truck comes out, they actually go out, scan the cab of the truck, so we can come up with a perfect fit. And it's a lot to it, but it really makes a difference in making the floor mats fit perfectly. And all of these are all available through Kenworth Northeast. They can get, no matter what your OEM of your truck is, you can get it through them. All right, so now we'll go back to the outside. Custom mud flaps. This is Minimizer has been doing mud flaps for quite a long time. And recently we came up with a new tool where on our website, you can go on and design your own mud flap. You can work with your Kenworth Northeast representative. They can do it with you. Or if you do it on your own, you go through, design the whole flap, and it ends up back at Kenworth Northeast to work with Minimizer to come up with pricing and availability and all that. So it's a really slick tool. We have a ton of different colors. You can download your logo. We also have a bunch of stock art if you want to design it from there. If you think about mud flaps to me are like the best advertising on the road, because anytime I'm behind a truck, for some reason I'm always looking at the mud flaps. It's probably because I sell them, but it catches my eye every time. Um, and depending on what you do, you know, the amount you need, our pricing is very competitive. So just on a side note, High Bar Brands recently acquired Viking mud flaps out of Michigan, and we're in the process of kind of combining all of that and getting them under our under the same roof. So this custom mud flap should actually get even better and more competitively priced as we go from there. So um, if you're in the market for some mud flaps, or at least want to check it out, give it a shot, and I think you'll like it. Um, so if you go on and you buy some mud flaps, you know, why not take care of them? We when we were designing, you know, coming up with a new product, somebody said, boy, mud flaps are lost all the time. And number two, there's a ton of damage caused by backing up over the mud flap and bending the bracket, like in the middle picture there. So what we decided, what we tried to do was design a mud flap hanging solution. Go ahead to the next one, which is called the quick release fast flap. Um, what this does is, you know, you can usually use the bracket you have if needed, or you can also purchase a bracket, but you just put the fast flap clips onto the bracket, and with the idea that it'll eliminate torn mud flaps. From what I've talked to folks out in the field, you know, the biggest savings is the time it takes for the maintenance guys to have to replace a bent hanger or damage caused when they do rip them off. Especially if if you have galvanized metal up there, you know, that get really expensive if you start damaging that. It takes over 500 pounds of pressure to pull the mud flap out of the fast flap. So they're not just going to go falling off as you drive down the road. And the best part of the whole thing is how easy they are. It basically, all you need is a screwdriver to pry it open, and you fit the mud flap right in there. It's, you know, if from the very beginning installing the flaps, it usually takes 10 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes max. And then once you put a mud flap in the fast flap, I mean, as you can see, it takes seconds. You know, you just pry it open and put it up in there. Whole idea is to make it really easy to install. We have I think we have a quick video to show you.
Tired of having mud flaps ripped off and ruined? Then get the newest product from Minimizer. Fast Flaps. Fast Flaps secure your mud flaps without sacrificing strength. And when it comes to ripping off those mud flaps, it simply doesn't happen without a major force. That means Fast Flaps will release the mud flaps without causing any tears or damaging the flap. And it takes 500 pounds of pressure to release, so don't worry about losing a flap until it's backed over. You're probably thinking, great, how long is it going to take me to reinstall mud flaps? No worries. With Fast Flaps, all you have to do is take a standard screwdriver, pull the Fast Flaps apart, and then insert the mud flap. It really is that easy. Fast Flaps are the fastest, easiest solution for securing mud flaps. They'll save you time and money. Installing a flap takes seconds, and you don't have to spend any more cash on new flaps or pay expensive fines for driving without a flap. So get Minimizer Fast Flaps today.
Here you go. So these fast flaps are, you know, Kenworth Northeast stocks all the fast flap sets. They're pretty low cost and should pretty much pay for themselves pretty quick. So I would highly suggest giving them a shot. Go ahead and go to the next one. So basically, we just covered 4 of the product lines. And all 9 of the product lines are available through Kenworth Northeast. But if the other ones that we didn't touch on are toolboxes, mattresses, slick plates, slick disc, and the lights. And what along the same lines as what I mentioned before is, we try to have that truck driver, truck owner mentality and come up with products that protect your investment and make life easier for the owner and the driver. So if you want to, if you get a chance, you can go online, check out the other products we have available, get with your representative and go from there. That's all I have for today. And once again, thank you guys.